Welcome to the Home Computer Museum. We're an interactive computer museum. Since 2020 we were lucky enough that Anne decided to put his entire collection over here. We're very happy and very excited to be able to have this in our museum over here. It's really one of the biggest selling points of this museum. We're here for Mr. Anne Brat himself. Give a hand for everybody to give a hand to
Thank you. Welcome very much to the Home Computer Museum. It's really heartwarming to see all of you here. It really means a lot of you to have this public and to have people here that really know how to enjoy these games back in the day. A little introduction, probably people will know that I am Anne Brat, but how did it all start? So how is it that I'm here today? So for that we have to go a bit back in time to my childhood. Back in the day I played a lot of games. My father had a computer for his work and he gained a lot of copied games from colleagues and that's how I used to get in contact with some really cool games like Command & Keen or Prince of Persia. Maybe some people know Sokoban, and my father used to love that game very much. So very early on I got in contact with a lot of games. Already back then there were quite some games available, but how do you know what games are the right games? What are the good games to play? Back in the day the Netherlands used to be known, gaming wise at least, used to be known for two things, and that's shareware and pirating. So I remember going to the Blokker or Intertoys and buying my own diskettes with shareware games on there and playing it all day and the day after that and the day after that. And later also with magazines you got these CD-ROMs with shareware on it, and that's how we got to know about good games. And maybe some people remember a certain CD-ROM called Twilight. That's where a bunch of full games were sort of compressed onto a CD-ROM, and you got like 20 games on one CD-ROM, and they're all full games, except it might be missing some cinematics or music to make it all fit on the CD-ROM. But that was, that was how we got around back in the day. There we have an example of a Twilight CD, very rare. It's here in the museum now, well preserved. So 2006 there was a Queen's Day market. Here in the Netherlands we're very familiar with Queen's Day markets. Now it's called King's Day markets. And there I found a boxed copy, and that's this very boxed copy here of Day of the Tentacle. And how many people here know Day of the Tentacle? Wow, alright. I'm definitely talking to the right target audience here. I love this game and I had played it so many times back in the day, but I had never found a boxed or never seen a boxed copy of it. And this was the first time I got in contact with this boxed copy. And I loved the art on it, and it was such it's an amazing game, and it takes you right into this world when you just look at the art itself. And then I got sort of enthusiastic about these boxes. Just in a few days I already found Diablo 1 and Diablo 2 and Dungeon Keeper in box, and I mean people probably know that these are good games, but also the boxes, they look amazing with this demonic head up front. That's sort of when I started to realize how beautiful these boxes were, and that's when I started collecting. It was in the beginning of Marktplaats, and people, they didn't care that much back then about the box. They used to play the games and throw away the box. And on Marktplaats I just bought every game, every PC game I could find, and that's how I started very early in my collection. I got quite a big collection pretty soon, especially since on Marktplaats all these big box PC games were €1 each. People didn't know what they had and they just gave it away in big bulks. I met a person, his name was Peter, he lived in Hilversum, and he was known for having the largest collection in the Netherlands. I was a big fan of him. I started to get in contact with him, and we met many times after that, and we talked about games. We talked about our passion and our worlds within this collecting, and that was very special to me. But after 1.5 years, this person passed away. He was a bit older man, and he died from lung cancer. And then his games collection went to his sons, and I lost a big friend. So that was a very sad moment, and I got offered to buy the collection from these sons, and that's how I ended up with most of his collection. And then all of a sudden it took me a while to realize that I now had the largest collection in the Netherlands, which was kind of weird. I had too much games. I couldn't keep it in my room anymore, so I had to find storage for them, which was a bit sad because I wanted to show my collection. I didn't want to have them collect dust in a storage. But it did create the certain situation where I was sort of stacking all these boxes. Back then, it was the first time of me handling many games, so I stacked these boxes and I sort of like, oh, this looks sort of like a throne. So I put a little chair in the middle, and I made this famous picture of me sitting on this throne, known as the Throne of Games. This throne picture went viral on the internet, and from that moment on, I was also known as the PC King. Then I was like, all right, I have the largest collection in the Netherlands. How is this compared to the world? Are there other collectors out there? And I was already in contact with many other collectors in the Netherlands, but also abroad. There's also this very huge Facebook group called Big Box PC Game Collectors. Big shout out to them. There are very amazing people there still today. If you are a boxed PC game collector, then that's definitely the place to go. So I was searching on the internet for collections with like larger than mine, and I stumbled upon one picture in particular, and I saw that picture and my mind was blown. I mean, this was an enormous collection. I saw these cabinets and they were all filled back to back with boxed PC games, just exactly as what I was collecting. My mouth fell open, and then I started looking better at this picture, and I started looking at these shelves and counting the games, and I was like, oh, I have twice as many games. And it was underneath there, it said, this is the largest collection known in the world. So I was like, all right, I need a picture. I need a picture of my games. Because back then, all my games were in these banana boxes. And it took a weekend. We had one day to set it all up, and the other day to tear it all down. But this picture also went viral, and it went all over the internet. And then I was like, all right, why not go all the way? Why not set a world record? It was already a couple of years later, and I started to realize I couldn't find another person with a huge collection bigger than mine. So I was like, all right, I'm going for it. I'm going on this roller coaster adventure and set the record. So that's what I did. Here it is, officially. This may sound easy, but it wasn't. Getting here with this certificate, it took years to get there. I had to take a lot of pictures of all these boxed PC games. And here's a big shout out to Humphrey van Lee, who helped me make these pictures as well. Thank you so much. It was, without you, I wouldn't have gotten here, probably, maybe not even have this certificate, so thank you so much. And it was also a very good company to talk to you about games and other stuff. In the end, there was the taking of all these pictures, and also there had to be an official counting day. A lot of friends helped me with counting, also my wife helped me managing everything. And Bart, also known as DOS Gamer on YouTube, he helped me make this beautiful video. And with that, I went to Guinness World Records. And then it happened. So this is like, it was an insane moment for me. And I might not recommend this whole roller coaster traject for other collectors, but I think it was a nice adventure. I already had some exhibitions. I had a LucasArts exhibition. I'm a very big fan of LucasArts games, but I wanted to have it in a place in the world where people could go. I always dreamt of a place where I could share my entire collection. So at first I was at a different location. My whole collection went to Zwolle, to the Games and Computers Museum. That was beautiful, and it was a nice place, but when I heard that they opened the doors here in Helmond at this location, I was like, this is the right place. It feels like you have all these home computers, and you have my collection, all these games that are meant to be played on home computers. So for me, it felt like 1 + 1 is 3. This is really a perfect win-win situation. I went to Bart and we started to talk, and we made it happen. So now it's here officially in the museum, and it really means a lot to me to be able to show it, and also their effort they put in to make it look as good as it does now. That is really heartwarming when you look at these games. Also here there are 3 cabinets with my games. These are the Dutch games in my collection. This is how I want them to be looked at by people. So to some people, this might be a bunch of games. To me, it is also like a huge part of history. Of course, you have like the very first game like Pong or Computer Space. Yes, that's of course big steps for the computer game, but to me, this era of PC games was where it all happened. Of course, you have like Mario, and you have Pac-Man and Zelda, not to mention Link. There's also Link. Donkey Kong. Those are all very famous characters in gaming history. But let's not forget things like Tomb Raider, or Warcraft, or Lemmings, or Worms, or Diablo, and I could go on and on and on, and it will all be there, visible for the people to see, and it will be all in the original box, and they're all complete. That to me were the games that are memorable. They were the polished games, the games that were made almost perfectly, with a good story, with a good music, and with good gameplay, and story-wise, it takes you away. To the children of today, I would like to tell them that there is more than Minecraft, Roblox, and Fortnite. There is more out there, and you can see it here. So that's, I think, an enormous step. Because it's not only international games, you have here the Dutch collection as well. And sometimes it's not only the game, sometimes there are parts of the history among here as well. When you ask a random Dutch gamer, do you know any Dutch games? Then people might say Horizon Zero Dawn. I mean, that's one of the latest games and it's big, so people know it. Some people might even say Killzone. People from my time will probably say A2 Racer or Red Cat. A lot of people might not know that before the 3D Red Cat educational series, there was also a Red Cat platformer out there, where you were just a cat with a pen on its head and shooting with a machine gun and mice. Also A2 Racer, it's a very, I think it's almost an infamous game here in the Netherlands. So I think we're now at the moment where I go chop down the ribbon. Yes, so let's open the collection. All right, thank you. Without further ado, 3, 2, 1. So welcome, you can walk here. There's a computer there that has a list of all the games here in this collection. Hij heeft het enigszins voorpijn. Die het heeft over.